It's the 1st of July, which means half of the year is officially over, and I'm ready to do the mid-year book freak-out tag. Hello, Phoenix. So I've read 27 books this year. I'm in the middle of my 28th, and that's pretty good for me. Goodreads says I'm 8 books ahead of schedule, so I put 40 books as my reading challenge for the year. Last year I read 44 books. Fun fact. So anyway, I'm just gonna jump into the questions. Best book you've read so far in 2020. This is a really hard one. I've read a lot of really good books this year so far, but I think I'm gonna go with Giovanni's Room for this one, just because it's a really emotional book. It's a really sad book, and I'm a sucker for a sad book. Because I feel like if I say it's my favorite book, then it has to really mean something for me emotionally and be like really memorable for me. And I know that sad books always affect me like that. Like this is one that I'll be least likely to forget by like January. And it's also the one that I'm most likely to reread, and I really want to buy the book as well. Best sequel you've read so far in 2020. So I've read 2 sequels this year. I read the second book of the Book of Dust, The Secret Commonwealth. The Secret Commonwealth. And then I also read both books in the Dread Nation series, so the sequel is Deathless Divide. And I'm gonna say Deathless Divide was the best sequel I've read this year. I'll get into The Secret Commonwealth a little more later, but Deathless Divide is really good. I feel like because I read them in a row, like one after the other, my excitement for the books did kind of wane during the second one, simply because I'd been reading it for quite a few days already. But like, I can't say objectively, but you know, I think it was a really good book. I really enjoyed it. I was satisfied with the ending. I really enjoyed seeing where the characters continued, and I thought the plot was really good. So yeah, that was my favorite sequel. New release you haven't read yet, but want to. So I haven't read the new Hunger Games book, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I just looked it up in the library system, and apparently they don't have it anywhere in Tallinn, so I don't know when I'm gonna get that. Because I don't really want to buy it. I don't think I'm gonna read it more than once. And they only have it in hardcover in stores, which is expensive. So hopefully I'll get around to it, if not before the end of the year. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year, I honestly don't really have anything to put here. I'm not someone who follows like books that are going to be released in the future. I just find that too frustrating. I want to buy books now, not wait 6 months. So nothing for that question. Biggest disappointment. So I had 2 books for this one. First was Dune. It had a really high rating on Goodreads, and I was like trying out sci-fi books because I hadn't really read sci-fi before, and that was like one of the top rated ones I found. And I just found it really boring. Like I didn't find any of the characters interesting. I didn't really understand what was going on for most of the book. Like I know there's probably like a really sci-fi thing, and it's just the genre isn't for me. But it just really bothers me when books like use a lot of weird made up terminology and then they don't really explain it, or they only explain it like later, and by that time I've obviously forgotten. I don't know. It's just I find it really hard to follow books like that, and yeah. So I wasn't really into Dune. But I'm excited for the movie because Timothée Chalamet is the main actor. And then the second one was The Secret Commonwealth. Because I'm a really big fan of his Dark Materials trilogy, and I thought the first book of the Book of Dust was really good. So I had really high expectations for the second one. And generally the second one was a really good book. Like I loved the story in general. I loved seeing Pan and Lyra travel around the world, discovering new places, and finding people who didn't have demons. But yeah, that was the first thing that was kind of off about the book for me. It was like, we didn't really get enough background about why Pan and Lyra suddenly weren't getting along at all. So for me, it didn't really make a lot of sense. It was hard for me to kind of empathize or understand what they were going through. The second thing that put me off the book was the kind of, spoiler alert by the way, the thing going on between Lyra and Malcolm. I don't have the book on me unfortunately, so I can't check. I read it a while ago. But from what I remember, it was just really creepy. Like I think one of the first times that Malcolm was like talking about his feelings for Lyra, like thinking about his feelings for Lyra, there was like I remember there being like a paragraph where he was bringing out the contrast between them, and like the first one was like, I'm older and she's younger, and other similar things like that, and that was just, it just sounded so creepy. Ugh, I can't find the quote right now, but anyway, because he was like her teacher when she was a kid, and I don't know, I think it's weird, I don't like it. Yeah, that's all I have to say on that. Biggest surprise. Again, I have 2 books for this. The first one was The Giver of Stars, which I kind of went into it not expecting much because from what I had heard of Jojo Moyes before, I thought she wasn't maybe my kind of author, but I absolutely adored this book. Like, librarians on horseback and like fighting against the patriarchy and the system and like being independent women in a society that hates that. Oh, that's so my thing. So I really loved that book. And then the other one is Dread Nation, simply because I didn't think I would like a zombie book. I've never read a zombie book before. It didn't sound like it was my thing, but again, amazing. I love it. Great. Favorite new author. Again, I have 2 for this. So Salman Rushdie. I read The Satanic Verses last year, and I was positively surprised because a lot of people I knew said it wasn't that good, but I really enjoyed his writing style. And then this year I read his book Shame, which I just picked up out of the library randomly, and I absolutely loved that book. I thought it was written so interestingly, and it was so enjoyable. It was a joy to read. So now I really want to read more of his books, and I think he might become one of my favorite authors because he just has such a cool writing style. And the other one would be James Baldwin, but I feel like it's a bit early to say because Giovanni's Room is literally the only book by him I've read so far, but it was written really well, so I'm just very excited to pick up more of his books and see what else he's done. Because I've heard a lot of good things about his other books as well, so yeah. Newest fictional crush has to be Jane from Dread Nation. She just sounds hot. Like, she is the ultimate chaotic bisexual. She's tough, she's funny, she's great, okay? She's a freaking zombie killer, what else do you need me to say? Newest favorite character, also Jane. But also Marjorie from The Giver of Stars, because she was like the main like tough feminist librarian in that book, and I just thought she was a really cool character. And also Sai from Upright Women Wanted, which is another book about librarians and horses in kind of a similar patriarchal American Western inspired setting. Another book I really loved this year. And Sai was super cool because again they were also like really tough and going against society's expectations, and they were non-binary. They were one of the like first non-binary characters I read in a book, and yeah, I thought they were really cool as well. So those three very similar characters from like kind of similar-ish vibe books. Book that made you cry is obviously Giovanni's Room. What else do you need me to say? Book that made you happy. Again, the 3 books that I just mentioned. Dread Nation, The Giver of Stars, and Upright Women Wanted. It's just beautiful reading about these like strong women getting shit done, fighting the patriarchy, being queer. It's just everything I want, you know? It made me so happy. Most beautiful book you've bought so far this year. So that's kind of sad. I still have most of my books at my old house. I haven't brought them here yet, so I can't show you physically. But I really like the cover of the Secret Commonwealth. I think all the Book of Dust covers, well, all two of them so far, have been really nice. And also Swimming in the Dark had a nice cover. So yeah, I've only bought like 3 or 4 books this year, so I don't buy a lot of books. There's not too much to choose from. But I think these covers are nice. The next question, I do have my books with me. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? So I have Imagine a Country, which I received in the mail in like June, the beginning of June. I haven't gotten around to it. I'm reading Finding Eden right now, which was the other book I received around the same time. I've just been really busy. So hopefully I get around to this later this month. And then I have 2 foreign language books that I really want to work on this year. I don't know if I'll finish either of them, but I want to get at least something done. The first one is French Stories, a dual language book. So it has 10 short stories by famous French authors. The first one is Micro-Megas by Voltaire, and about 5 chapters in, 28 pages. So it has like French on this side and English on this side. And I'm kind of enjoying it. It's not that difficult. I'm okay at reading French. It's kind of similar to English as well, so hopefully I get through a few more of these stories by the end of the year. And then the other one is also a short story book in Turkish, which is Aziz Nesin's Kazan Töreni, which don't ask me to translate that right now. This is fully Turkish, just a bunch of classic Turkish short stories. My Turkish professor gave this to me like in December, because she wanted me to practice reading Turkish. And I think I read like 1 or 2 stories. I struggled a lot with them. I had to look up like every other word in a dictionary. And my dictionary is like a mini dictionary, so it doesn't even have everything in it. Google Translate isn't amazing either for translating Turkish into English. So this is a struggle. But I want to make it through at least a few more of these stories by the end of the year. Because otherwise, I'm going to forget my Turkish. And that's it. That's all the questions. So that's what I've been reading this year. That's what I want to be reading this year. And yeah. Please read the books that I said were good, because they were really good. Yeah. So thanks for watching. And I'll see you next time. Bye.